All right, what we have here is Jaybird 540 with 2 kills so far, straight into the action. I was able to get 2 kills myself before I was taken out, but wonderful opportunity. Decided to go ahead and die so I could go ahead and spectate and commentate on some nice Fortnite solos action. Jaybird jumping down from high ground, covering the distance, making a more effective shotgunning distance, but it actually does the same thing for the other player who also would love for the enemy player to go down on the low ground with them. Jaybird giving up the advantage completely for Columbia Pro. And Columbia, she is feeling pretty good about the fact that somebody just gave her a free kill essentially, using bandages, maybe has a med kit. Seems like based on the time spent, this is definitely a med kit. Columbia Pro will be able to get up to 100 HP. We'll see if she is able to find any kind of shielding options whatsoever. She knows that there's other players in Tilted. You hear the gunfire. She's going to go ahead and roam around, try to find some more ammo for certain other weapons that she may have. Look around constantly, trying to find any kind of shielding option whatsoever, or perhaps even at least a better upgraded version of weapons. Finds a chest. Maybe this has something for her. It does have a scarf. That is a fantastic grind, a find for Columbia Pro, rather. And drops that green AR, of course. You don't really need that when you find a scarf. It's going to be a far better option for her. She's still looking around, swiveling constantly, 360 turning, trying to find where other enemy players are. She does find some enemies off in the distance. Grabs the bolt action sniper rifle. Columbia Pro deciding not to hold any form of bandages right now. Looking in the underground area to see if there's any loot there. She knows that there are at least 2 players off the 210. One player might have killed each other off, the other one off at this time. Columbia Pro actually doesn't really know if that's the case or not. One player was up top trying to get up on the jump. That's actually quite a difficult jump if you haven't tried that kind of jump before. It's really, you have to be positioned perfectly and get a maximum height jump off essentially to get up top of there. She does manage to make it happen. There are players off to her north. She does take some fall damage. A little bit of a mistake. Does find another player though who's looking to edit, and now is just turtling in, building some ramps and walls to protect themselves. Accidentally takes a jump pad, falls to the ground. Columbia Pro thrown off this position a little bit, doesn't quite know what's going on. Uses the tires, get back up. That's a very smart move. There's a player on top of the west side hill that is shooting down shots down onto this building here. Columbia Pro trying to find the enemy player. The enemy player still below. She figures that out at the very least. The other players are doing a shotgun battle on top of this hill. One player did win. A player is still in the basement of the house that Columbia Pro is next to. And a third player is coming in from the side. Columbia Pro is quickly getting surrounded by enemy players. So you're going to need to find a way of getting some kills off, repositioning. She does off to the side. One player is right in front of her. She takes some quick shots. Does a little bit reckless. Gives away a position to the enemy player. She now has to reposition herself around the pawn shop here. Try to displace where she was, so the other player doesn't have an easy time figuring out where she is. The other player's on the other side of this truck. 1v1 somewhat at this moment right here. One player's on this side of the truck. Columbia Pro, she decides to go ahead and reposition to high ground over here. One player was towards pawns. They can determine based on how that building pattern went. Columbia Pro above the enemy player who's down below her right here in this tunnel. One player is using a jump pad to push on top of the pawn shop apartment buildings there over here. Columbia Pro not certain what exactly to do here. There's quite a lot of enemies in this vicinity. She's trying to just find a really safe 1-by-1 fight and finds an enemy who jumps off a bounce pad onto a launch pad and then leaves. Columbia Pro has no idea where that enemy went. Just displacing herself, getting out of that situation. She doesn't know where the enemy is. She wants the enemy to also then not know where she is. She's trying to get away and get some distance, be able to reassess the situation. There's a player off to her west, push up on her right now, face to face with another shotgunner who's rapidly building high ground over Columbia Pro. They got boxed in a little bit though. Pro has a little bit of advantage. The other player is building off to the side, trying to regain high ground. It was ahead of the tempo here. Columbia Pro stuck below, building some roofs, trying to get some cover for herself. The other player is probably looking for Columbia Pro right now. Both players trying to find who the other player is, trying to get some advantages, trying to get high ground, trying to gain some edges over each other. The other player is above Columbia Pro. Look out! There is a roof that she built just in time. Pro is a little slow in tempo here, but is effectively building cover for himself. Is almost dead now. One shot. The other player, no idea what the HP status is of this player. The other Pro displacing it, but not quite fast. The other player with 6 HP. One shot of anything in the game would have killed Serta here, but Serta keeping composed, keeping calm. Got the shots off, getting some free shots in the enemy player. Just shielded, falling down, probably took some health damage from that fall right there. Serta No healing options, finds another player, has high ground, needs to get these shots off really well, cannot expose herself. Literally any kind of shot from anything in the game, with the exception to a max distance 1 or 2 pellets from a shotgun, would kill her here. Using a balance pad to get some high ground, get a bird's eye view of the situation, figure out where the other players are, finds a player, tries to get that one shot, deagle headshot going on, does get shot by a max straight shotgun, like I called out before. The other player was then immediately shotgunned by a Mellow Nide Twitch. Mellow Nide was a player that Serta was trying to find, properly used cover, was not ever found, was not able to get any more than just a couple of shots on his shielding. He was able to get these quick kills off, gets himself an upgrade for a Scar running double pump. Probably both these pumps are blue, considering he's passing up the blue pump shotgun, on the ground there. And probably has his own bandages and or med kit. And if he does have a med kit, it's probably a wise decision to not use up just for 7 HP, though you wouldn't blame him if he did it. You never know how much HP you need. Every bit of HP counts. I can't tell how many times I've seen people live with 7 HP or less, so it might have been wise if he did have a med kit to go ahead and use it there. But perhaps he doesn't. Perhaps he only has bandages, was already at 15 stack, so that's why he wouldn't pick up the other bandages on the floor. Of course, with the spectating view, we don't really know. Nevertheless, what we do know is he is building up towards this pop-up fort, trying to go ahead and build up cover just in case somebody was lurking. You never know. Somebody's probably inside this 1x1. There is not anybody there. He went ahead and used his double pump to immediately get rid of that cover. See somebody off in the distance, 330, long distance. Mellow Knight has not shown that he has a sniper rifle yet. Using a Scar to get some quick shots on a player, takes down Black Panda, who was not properly and quickly building cover for herself when she was getting shot from afar from Mellow Knight Twitch here. So that's a quick, easy kill from Mellow Knight Twitch. All he had to do was just land his shots, be calm, be patient, and get those in. Mellow Knight Twitch using the balance pad, very smart, can quickly get over to this loot. This other person probably dropped, maybe find some mini shields. He does. Great job, Mellow Knight Twitch, for quickly going out ahead and getting some shielding options. Way better situation now for Mellow Knight Twitch. So Mellow Knight now is probably going to go ahead and make a play to the player he knows that exists off in the northwest, across the street. He's building up ramps to get up top of this mountain peak once again, or it's hilltop, whatever you may call it. It is rather a hill, not quite a mountain then, eh? Nevertheless, on top of the hill, has a bird's eye view, sees that the other player probably isn't pushing on him. He didn't quite 360 look around and make sure nobody else was lurking, nobody was hiding, waiting for him to cross that peak, but he just went ahead and pushed on forward, kept that W key down. He does indeed need to run from the zone, has quite a ways to travel. We do see with his map that he definitely needs to get his pedal to the metal going right now. He has quite a distance to travel. If he does keep roaming towards the next safe zone, he should make it without taking damage, but there is an enemy waiting for him, lurking, gatekeeping at the gas station. Mellow Knight Twitch. Mellow Knight's building up cover properly. Goes and gets amazing shots and jumps down onto a grenade. Luckily bounced off away so it doesn't blow him up on the ground there. That was a little bit risky, but I guess maybe he just saw that the grenade was going off to the side, so he didn't have to worry about it. He's definitely thinking about picking up a med kit there, but he decides against it. Just grabs the minis, just go ahead and grab some weapon upgrades, get some mats, get some ammo, and continues pushing towards the safe zone, emoting for no reason. He's literally wasting time as he still has to cover distance towards the next safe zone. In fact, because he took that brief second to emote, there actually is a pretty solid chance he's probably going to take some HP damage that he wouldn't have taken otherwise. It's a very interesting decision by Mellow Knight there. Quite the hubris he has, it seems. We'll see if that really bites in the butt later. Like I said before, every HP counts. He might actually just barely make it out without taking any HP damage, probably calculated. This might be a seasoned player, knows exactly the distancing he has, how long it takes to get there, and just makes it in without taking any HP damage. Good on him, he knew exactly what to do there. Currently, Mellow Knight, what he's going to be doing with a 7 kill season ending with player, perhaps out in the distance, far on the east, right at the blue. You might have seen him as a giant orange, very bright orange character out there. It should be pretty simple to see. Mellow Knight, we can't really tell based on how he's moving, getting some mats. Nevertheless, saw him or not, he definitely needs more mats. Having more mats is never a bad thing. I definitely see a fight going off in the distance there. It might be over already. Somebody's shotgun another player, top 8 situation. It's hard to tell. Seems like the fight is still going on. One player is pickaxing down walls or roofs that keep getting built. Melonite shooting off some rockets, just try to suppress. Maybe while this team is, this 1v1 is happening, maybe he can get off some rocket kills. Perhaps he's using this at least for disrupting them and maybe keeping the fight going as he goes ahead and covers the distance. Has some free shots. We know he has a good shot and does headshot Peruvian guy off the distance, and laser beams Young Daekwon off on the distance as well. Melonite with really good shots being landed with the scar. The scar with the first shot accuracy. Good amount of damage at range, especially if you use mouse keyboard. Know what you're doing. Now even has a gold version, able to land on really good shots there. Decides to go with the thermal rifle instead of the rocket launcher. That is definitely a player opinion decision, playstyle preference kind of a deal. The thermal rifle is very good. Sees two players shooting at each other. He's looking at gatekeep, trying to get some shots on. Clean up, does not quickly get that kill. The other player probably is weak. Mel on Twitch, missing a lot of shots here. He landed a lot of good shots earlier, but now is choking some shots, but does maintain composure, gets that last shot off on another player who was indeed weak. Ref that fight, couldn't get both kills. Unfortunately, would be at 11 otherwise, but missed a couple of shots. The other player, at least he finished refing that fight off though. What reffing the fight means, in case you don't know, as Melonite is living up these moments here with himself, reffing a fight means if you see another fight happening off in the distance, you know both players are at least distracted, probably both weak, and you go ahead and clean up the fight. You go ahead and get quick kills, basically saying, hey, be careful now here. We're gonna give you both a foul, eject you both out of the game, send them back to the lobby. Is exactly what Melonite just did. Melonite jumping backwards while building, probably looking to do another bounce pad play. Off a ramp is an interesting choice. Off a flat wall, probably would have gotten him more distance. We'll see if he continues doing the ramp play. No, it looks like he's doing the wall. He realized, yep, the wall definitely will help him cover more distance faster. He's getting more mats. As I said before, mats is so good for defensive material usage, to build a wall between you and an attacker, to try to get yourself on top of a mountain a lot faster, like you'll probably see Mel and I do here in just a moment, as well as maintain high ground over an enemy. High ground is so good. You can get a lot of cover for yourself. You can build the head glitches, so the other players don't really know how to shoot you very well, as you make yourself a smaller target. So it'll be harder for you to get shot by the enemy player. Also allows you to get a bird's eye view, so you can understand the situation a lot better, know where the other players are more effectively. And as I just said, using those materials to build up ramps, get on top of this mountain a lot faster. Using a trap very wise in case somebody decides to use this ramp in the zone. Unlikely somebody will be in the zone, but it's possible somebody was trailing him there. And if they do use their ramps, jump up on top, they'll be jumping straight into the trap there, especially if they're trying to get out of their zone really quickly. You don't use traps for much at this stage of the game, so you might as well place them on top of the ramps just like that. Every once in a while, you can find a kill from that kind of placement there. Melonite using that scope. The zoom on the scope lets them see farther distances, and like you see right there, lets you be able to see not only chests out in the distance and crates, but also lets you be able to see other players peeking a little bit through those cracks in the wood there. So definitely Melonite knows one of the final two players is certainly in that 1x1 near the soccer field. Melonite does not know what the other player is, but it was a shotgun top two situation. Both players were certainly there, because if it was a shotgun kill, that means they were very close quarters. Melonite probably does not realize that he's in a top two situation. He is not pushing on that situation at all. The other player might have been weak. The mountain is certainly not in the next zone. It seems like Melonite is still trying to look for another player. Indeed, what he's trying to do is build a wall here, so you can use a bounce pad to get the distance covered a lot faster against the other player here. Again, the ramp choice is very interesting. Does not take him very far. I'm not sure why he quite used that emote. Taking some damage, Melonite really having some hubris here, taking a lot of unnecessary risk while pushing towards the final enemy player. 1v1, the enemy player has high ground, isn't a 1v1. I think they saw Melonite's existence, so they should be aware of him pushing up here. Here he goes. He definitely is aware. Melonite being very aggressive with the ramp usage, pushing up with the ramps. ramps are useful for cover while also pushing aggressively. He's trying to maintain high ground while also pushing to his enemy. Both players know high ground wins. Melonide a little bit ahead on the tempo here. Other player exposing their body to Melonide, letting Melonide stay ahead of the tempo, letting him get some free shots in. This should be a surefire win for Melonide based on the situation it is in, but you never know. Some people can clutch out a victory. Other player box themselves in so they can get some quick heals off. Melonide realizing what's going on, probably building out down. That is the enemy player's wall. It cannot edit. It places the trap. Enemy player, if he's in the box, will die to that trap. We're not quite sure if the other player is in that box or not quite yet. The other player might have gone down a little bit farther down. Melonide trying to find the enemy player. Not quite sure where he is. Looks like they did indeed go down farther. You see them down below Melonide using the bounce pad to be able to jump down. You don't take any damage if you use a bounce pad there. Drops down, both players about the same elevation here. One player has boxed themselves in a little bit more in the soccer field. Melonide realizing high ground definitely is advantageous. He takes the top ground there, drops down a little bit because he's getting impatient, really wants to find where the other player is. Breaking down this floor here, which the other player's roof, to try to get a better vantage point, to try to really figure out exactly where the enemy player is. Doing it yet again, really just building towards progress. Sees that the other player using campfire probably is a little bit more healthy at this point. Melonide building back up to the top. Here's the other players moving off to the side. They're trying to find each other, trying to really get a good angle on each other. Melonide knows the other player's down. Other players making a move. Building off the ramp is caught below Melonide. Again, Melonide is doing a really good job of maintaining top control, maintaining just composure over the enemy player. He's not pushing aggressively quite as much as he probably could, but the other player trying to get a quick snipe off. But Melonide, very smart, does not want to push too aggressively, too recklessly, because it could allow the other player to just get a quick shotgun off, could remove the advantage that Melonide has built for himself. Melonide, the other player getting up top control. Melonide really doing a good job recognizing top control advantage, keep the tempo in his favor. The other player is having a really hard time maintaining composure in these moments. Melonide really keeps that hubris going. Emoting anytime he has an opportunity to do so. The other player, again, always kept on below Melonide, not able to really ever get some top control for himself. Always behind this tempo. Melonide not in any rush, really just maintaining composure, not taking any unnecessary risks here, keeping all of this high ground going. Melonide trying to find where the other player was. Heard him run off to the side, but isn't quite sure where he is right now. On the other side of the wall, Melonide, he did drop off high ground. The other player is pinned a little bit, holding ground, sitting there. This other player needs to make a move, pushing out towards Melonide. Melonide making plays with the traps. The other player probably can make it out of there by pickaxing the walls. He's not pinned permanently in that situation and probably will find a way out from this zone. Melonide trying to just gatekeep here, gatekeeping the zone. Keep composure, always have the advantage here. Really just kind of sit here and watch the other player as he try to make a move from the zone. The other player is probably under those bleachers right there. Melonide trying to really get off a trap kill here, trying to bait the other player in to the trap kill. Laughing like the donkey that he likes to be. Apparently that is his spirit animal. Melonide really trying to taunt the player to go out into a play here. The other player is rather trapped, jumps across the gap, realizes that Melonide was doing a emote, wouldn't be available and ready with a shotgun. Melonide really allowing the player to get across that gap there. A little bit of an oversight, a little bit of a misplay there, giving some breathing room to the other player. The other player hasn't quite built themselves out of this situation here. Probably could have broken out of the side of these under bleachers area here, but is probably panicking, might be having the nerves get to him a little bit. Is really going off into a situation where Melonide honestly could have been taken out by Duplex Linguini, but Duplex Linguini tunneling a little bit, letting the nerves get to him. It doesn't quite break himself out of the soccer field there under the bleachers. Melonide maintaining better composure, and despite giving up advantage a little bit, does find himself in a situation where he's able to get 2 shotgun shots off, and the time the other player could only get 1. And because of that, that second shot was able to get Melonide that victory. At 11 kills is a pretty solid showing, despite the emoting, despite giving up some advantages, was still under better composure, holding the zone better than the other player, and securing the victory for himself.